Ume are plums native to Japan. They're related to the apricot. They first appear in late spring in the US. Look for them in Japanese or other Asian markets. Select plums that are green and firm with just a hint of blush. The other special ingredient is red shiso leaves. You can also find these at Asian markets, particularly Japanese or Vietnamese. This particular variety is green on the front side and red on the back side, but if you can find the full red shiso leaves, use those instead. Use a toothpick to carefully remove any trace of stems from the plum, being sure not to puncture the fruit. Soak the plums in cool water for a few hours or overnight, then drain them well. Next, prepare your setup. Fill a wide, shallow bowl with vodka. You will dip the plums in the vodka before adding them to the jar to kill any errant mold spores which would ruin the umeboshi. Next, sanitize the fermentation vessel. I'm using a half-gallon mason jar here. Pour vodka in and close the jar tightly. Slosh it around to coat every part of the inside of the jar, including the shoulders and neck. Dump out the vodka and let the vessel air dry. Measure out the correct amount of salt for the fermentation. You can use anywhere from 8 to 20% by weight. Experts recommend that beginners should start with a higher amount of salt, which is relatively safer than using a smaller amount. Trim the red shiso leaves, discarding the woody stems. Rinse them under cool water to remove any dirt. Then let them dry. Lightly salt the dried leaves, then gently massage them. This will cause them to wilt and prepare them for layering into the fermentation vessel. I add one batch of ume at a time to the bowl of vodka in order to sanitize them. Now it is time to build the layers up in the vessel. Add a layer of salt to the bottom of the vessel. Then add a layer of ume. I pull them from the vodka, let them drip dry, then add them to the jar. Then I add a layer of the wilted shiso leaves to cover the ume. Then I repeat, salt, ume, shiso, until I've added all the ingredients to the vessel. Add weights to the top of the layered plums to encourage brine to form. You want everything to be completely covered and under about an inch of brine. Here I'm using various small batch fermentation weights made of both glass and terracotta. You could also use a zip-top bag filled with brine or water. Whatever you use, be sure to sanitize them before adding it on top of the plums. Cover everything with a tea towel and rubber band, or apply a small batch fermentation lid like I've done here. The salt will begin to extract juice from the plums over the next few weeks. You'll notice after a few days that brine starts to form. This particular batch never covered itself with the brine, so I moved everything to a smaller container so that it did completely submerge the plums. After another week or two in the jar, it's time for phase 2, sun drying.